Hello everybody, and welcome to this tutorial in which I will show you how you can use Shapr3D as an architectural concept modeler. This is the space we're going to rebuild. It's kind of like an old industrial garage with some interior steel beam construction, joists, walls, openings in the walls, etc. I will start by showing you how we can set up most of these sketches based on an actual measurement we have, and then, for example, put in the steel beams, put the joists over it, a roof on top, and obviously the wall. This will be actually really interesting because, as you can see, we have sketches not only on the ground but also on the wall. So this will also be a lot of best practice. How do I cut a door? How do I cut a window? What different options do we have there for this? Okay, with all that said, let's do it. Before we get started, I would like to talk about the process I used to generate all the assets, 3D model, hand measurements to rebuild the space. The challenge was, given the time we only had and the state of the interior, how can we very quickly create a good enough model to develop a proposal? So we don't need to measure everything perfectly to the fraction of an inch, but it should be pretty close to. So I took my drone first and flew over the whole area, capturing not just only the building, but as you can see, also the surrounding. And the imagery in the model is actually pretty good. Obviously, where I flew close to, like with the roof, you can see even all the individual, the tarps. Or even if I go to here, you can see the bricks and everything. This is actually a really large model, too big, so I started to slice a piece out and simplify it. For this task, I also use primarily Blender because SketchUp, unfortunately, is not really very suitable for working with scan geometry. And all I want to use Blender here for is just realign everything and then produce something that can be used in a different program. Now this is actually the outside scan. How do I now then actually connect it to the inside scan? How do we line these pieces up? I did here, for example, an interior scan. And you can see that I actually also went to the outside. Here we can see it right through the wall and capturing piece of the wall and the door. And then later I tried to align everything so it's close enough. Again, this is not super precise, but given the time we only had and only what we need, this was actually sufficient. With this interior scan, then I was able to identify where are vertical, horizontal elements, where are actually the windows. I can actually then line up the windows also with the outside scan. I have, for example, here geometry cubes, which represent where these openings should be. And then I could compare from the inside to the outside to make sure that these scans to scale and also orientation line up. It's a little bit of work, takes maybe some time based on the complexity, but then you have this together. And by combining this outside and inside scan, with the inside going to the outside, it's super easy to do this alignment. Continuing specifically for areas which were of high importance, the joists and then the roof, and figuring out kind of like the pitch, I went to the back wall and did a specific scan just of this corner. And here we can see that this geometry is much better. I can see the individual wood elements, and then this I can use to very quickly rebuild it. So for example, I have this here. So this is all quickly remodeled in Blender. I'm turning off the scan there and turn off this. There we are. That was the wrong folder. There we are. Very good. Now we can see all the pieces inside. Now all this, these scans, because I had them all now in Blender perfectly positioned and aligned, I was able to export as STL, which is then also something you could bring into SketchUp. But as I mentioned, SketchUp is really poor when you import dense geometry. So here, this is actually the Shapr model, which I created while I was inside that space. So I used a laser measurement device to measure, for example, what's the width, what's the depth of everything, the opening of the door to the wall. You can see here vertical line. So this line to the corner, what's that distance? And you see here the numbers are basically what I plus minus measured. I worked a little bit fast. Again, everything I need is just, it should be close. Where the windows, the back windows I couldn't really see because that area was not reachable. But then again, I solved this problem, for example, through the exterior scan, where you can turn on the texture. You can see actually in the texture then where the windows would be. Give me 1 second for this to load. Only a matter of a few more seconds. There we are. Now there you see they are the windows, and then I overlaid these with the cubes. Okay, so this works actually really good. And because in Blender everything was positioned, and I use Blender only because it's free, you could do the same in Maya, Cinema 4D, Modo. I then was able to import these scans. So for example, there's the back wall. Now you see it perfectly snaps into the position. Or here is the drone, or the LiDAR. That's actually not the entrance. Oh, I should call this entrance. There we are. Very good. Or here, the interior space. So we can see here, that was actually an interesting discovery for me. I was clearly able to see that the roof here was at a pitch. And then you can also see this wooden part. And what I did not know is that this horizontal I-beam actually is not horizontal. It is very slightly at an angle. So if I go to the scan, interior space, and go to there you can see here, there's a distance. So there's an offset. So that doesn't really line up. Here, then you can see it gets very close. Let me exit the sketch. There we are. Okay, so you see here, there's a line. This was actually a line I measured till I was kind of like finding kind of like a joist. And then the line to the left is till I hit the ceiling. Because the floor was very uneven, I didn't really bother with going to various positions to try to measure if there's a difference, because if the ground is different, then my measurement would be different already. And this is where I thought, like, if I do a scan, then I can properly easily see if this is correct or not. Okay, and then these discoveries and then this overlay with these different scans resulted then into a more refined model. There you can see the roof is actually just 1 degree, so a slight pitch, but that's enough for the water to flow down. And I also brought in, for example, the geometry from Blender as a reference, and you can see the sketches are more cleaned up and actually perfected. Made the numbers a little bit better. Now there you can clearly see how everything is slightly at an angle. Yeah, and then I just simply built everything over it. So And that's kind of like now a very nice and clean CAD model, which then we can use to continue working with it. Okay, with that said, let's take a look at how we're going to build this. Let's get started with a new design. We can go to the top view, and for the measurement, we will use inches and decimal. I have all the measurements through the different devices I have just set to inch and decimal. We can later always go back then to foot and fractional display. For the modeling right now, decimal inches will be easier. Make sure we also have all our snapping turned on. Very good. Then let's go to sketch. Rectangle, we're in top view, and then we can click and drag and click out a rectangle. On a Mac and PC, I'm still in the draw mode, so I can press escape or right mouse button. On an iPad, you don't have to. This point here, I will lock. Then I can continue rotating this, which is not what I want. Double click the line, selects the sketch, and then I add a horizontal vertical constraint. Now I can only stretch it horizontal vertical. This line, when I click on the dimension, I can set to 1185 inches. I have to zoom out a little bit. And there we are. Select this one. This will be 685 inches. Very good. Beautiful. Now this point in my case actually stopped being locked. Now I can also move this around, and I will make sure this is really nicely locked to the 0 point of our scene. And then I lock it. Okay, very good. Perfect. We have here a 45-degree cut. So click a line. There we are. Then I click and escape. Then the line to this line has a degree of 135. So instead of being 90 degrees, it's actually rotated additional 45 degrees. Press enter. There we are. You see, it's actually the same. And the distance here, that is 89 inches. Very good. Cool. Okay. This is actually the interior corner. This is like outside in our way. So what I will do right now is I will click trim and then cut this for the moment away. Actually, this line, yep, let me just remove. Very good. And then I go to line and just redraw a line. There we are. Press escape. See, now this is an individual line. This line again I lock. This line I make horizontal. This line I make a construction so it does not create any geometry, and add this dimension. Okay. So this actually, you see, can now move a little bit. So I will do the same. A little helper geometry from this corner to there. Escape. Select the line, make construction and horizontal, and it will be also, by the way, 99 degrees, 89 inches. There. Cool. Okay. We can click and drag, and this is all good. So this is actually now the profile of the interior space. For your measurements, we know it's a 12-inch thick wall. So we can go to offset edge. We will select the loop command, click on this, and then offset it 12 inches to the outside. 12 inches, enter, and escape or right click. Very good. And you see now here, these construction lines didn't really bother anything. So this is perfect. To make sure that these lines don't change at all, I will select them all, including this one, and then simply lock it. It's kind of like freezing in AutoCAD. Very good. So I can click, but nothing can work or change. There we are. We can now go ahead to also add a little bit more of interior elements and then the doors. Maybe let's start up here. And we'll go to the line command, click a line there, right click, click a line there, right click. Okay, very good. And right click one more time or escape. So we stopped the drawing command. Shift click these two lines. We want to make sure they're always horizontal. Then now I can select this point and say, well, this door is actually 40 inches wide, and from this wall corner it is 36 inches away. And you see it moved that whole rectangle. Okay, let's go down to here. I'm going to draw a line, right click or escape. Right click 2 times or escape 2 times. Select these two, horizontal. Now the distance here is 144. And then from this corner to here, that is 350. And I can drag these dimensions to the outside, so it's actually easier to read. Very good. Okay, so now we have the 2 doors. Here we have actually 3 tiny columns. So I will go with a line command. From the right down there, click, right click, escape. So this one then is 9 inches and this is 8 inches. Oh, this rotated. So undo. And how does this happen? Let's make sure these two are actually horizontal, vertical. And then one more time, 8 inches. There. That's the way it should be. Very good. Then I'm going to do the following. I'll make this a little bit bigger. There, there, and there. Right click, and then another one there, 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 and there. Right click. Right click. Then I select all these lines and make sure these lines are horizontal, vertical. These 2 lines I would like to be equal. And then these 2 lines I would like to be equal. Now I can go ahead and say, well, this one is 20 inches and this is 10 inches. You see how both rectangles update automatically. Pretty cool. Then we can select these 2 points. That's roughly a distance 185 inches. Thank you. And then from here to here, what I measured, that was 187 inches. Okay, and you see how that's actually so nice. It adjusts the sketch for you. Very good. And then here we also have a tiny door. We can still mark it up. One vertical line from this line down, another vertical line, escape, click, click, vertical, horizontal. I measured this to be plus minus 34. And then from this corner to the interior wall, that was actually 160. Okay, there we are. So it's kind of like nearly very close to this piece. Okay, that's actually really nice. So we have most of the wall. We also do have actually the interior posts, and we have openings for the doors. So then we can actually now in the next step start drafting these elements up. So the wall is, when we extrude it up, does actually not have all around the same height. So we are going to add 2 lines here before we get started. I will create one horizontal line here. Right click, or escape, there. And then this distance is actually 530 inches. And then I do one line here too. There we are. Escape, escape. I can actually on a Mac PC also type in HO for horizontal constraint. Unfortunately not on the iPad, but on the iPad you can move the hand and pencil so fast you don't really need it. And then here, this will be 580 inches. Okay, very good. Yeah, so this is actually good. So that means we are now ready to draft up our pieces. So you see with Shift and mouse button, I clicked on the individual profile elements and then I extrude the wall up by 191 inches. Then I will select the missing profiles. And this we extrude up 221 inches. Very good. We have now actually, as you can see, two bodies. Double click, shift, double click, union. We fuse those together. Beautiful. Okay, you see that actually was pretty easy. Now we have the openings for the door. So there is actually the big opening. This we will extrude inwards and open it up to 144 inches. And it cuts automatically for us. Then there is the other profile, and that is 82 inches. Pretty awesome, huh? Yeah. What's really nice about Shapr, when you select faces and the opposite face is parallel, it always measures the distance for you. And we can very easily even move these later. Okay, so we also have here a profile, shift click and shift click there a profile, and then those we extrude up for the moment, let's say 170. Okay, so most of the architectural elements we have. The only thing we do not have yet is really a base. So the easiest way would be all this we turn off, and then I can I could select all the individual sketch elements. I'll show you something different. So here's my wall. Very good. I will select this face. There we are. And then this face. And then I will extrude actually this wall down to, let's say, 24 inches. I click on this icon and say new body. That's really important. 24 inches. There we are. So here, this tiny icon. Very good. So, and now I can do actually the following. Check this out. So this I bring over and I close. So that's fused together. Actually, I realized this one I don't even need. And then I select this one, bring this over. Look at that. It nearly soon would close it. Okay, so now we have this part. Very nice. We can actually select these individual faces. You have to select all. That's important. And then we press delete and we close it. There we are. Alternatively, if this is too much of modeling kung fu, you could also simply select all the individual profiles. There we are. And this is definitely also a valid way. There we are. So, oh, there. Where's top? There's top. Okay. And 24 inches down. Cool. Now works too. And delete this. Okay, right click. We will call this one floor, because that's basically everything we have inside the sketch. This is actually right click and wall. On the iPad, you have to, with your finger, swipe to the left to find the dialog to change it. Okay. And then we have the floor there, or we can call this floor foundation. And then these three elements we could call pose, or we can drag them into a folder. For the moment, we can just simply call them posed there. And we have the ability to give this name more than once. Very good. There. Then in the next step, what we can do look at is actually how do we cut everything into the back, and also here to create these windows. So to get started, on this interior wall there, I would like to create a sketch. So I select the wall, click sketch. The camera rotates, moves through it, and then I see kind of like the outside wall in front of me. So I click on this section cut icon. On an iPad, that is down here. And then I can just, for the moment, draw loosely 3 rectangles. The rectangles all have exactly the same proportion. So escape. I can select the top edges and then say equal. You see they all have the equal. And then maybe the right vertical edge and say equal. There, they're all the same now. They should be at the same height. So this line to this line, I would like to be tangent. Some programs also call this collinear. You see, clock, clock, clock. There you are. So when I select this, everything now moves around. The width of the window we can set to 96.75 inches. And then the height to 49 inches. Okay. And you see, no, this is all. They're all exactly the same. The distance between this window and this window here is actually 109. And then here, oh, we have to move this over. Okay, so you and you. This is 136 inches. Okay, so then it's actually getting over a little bit. So now how do I connect this to there and there? While we are drawing, a simple trick is I draw a line right on this edge. And you see then this edge actually got projected in. I can actually now turn off all the geometry so you can see this projected line. This basically gives me the corner and the top and the bottom. I can now select this line, shift click this line and say that this distance is 33.5 inches. And then this line or this point to this point. I zoom in a little bit and then here's an icon. Click on it. That should be not diagonal, but the vertical. That's actually 69 inches. There. Very good. So with this, we have the sketch created. Everything is dimensioned. And you can see with the dimensions, we can always go back and adjust everything. Exit the sketch, show everything. We have to turn off section view, and then we can shift click the profiles, click and drag, and cut through. Yeah, that's how easy actually it is to create this. Just as an explanation, we can always later select these individual faces, for example, shift and left and right, and then even move things around now if we want to. Cool. Okay, so let's go actually to this wall. So here we do the same. Select the wall, click sketch, turn off the section cut, and then I know now I need this one edge, so I'm just drawing this line. So now I have actually an edge as a reference, and I can turn off all my walls. Oh, by the way, let's do this. Shift click all these parts, drop this into the first object or body, and then it's a folder. You see, then we can turn this all on off easily this way. Cool. Okay, let's go back to here. This now we can delete. Now we have this line there. And we have also here 1, 2, 3 rectangles. There we are. You and you are actually, and you the same, so equal. They are also tangent, so they have the same height. There we are. Then 96.85. When I measured 34.5. So you and you should actually be equal. These are the same. And then this is 49. It's a different height. Okay. The distance between those is actually 72. And it looked like 71. And then from here to the wall, 131.5. Now they are all sharing the same height. So I can either measure from here to there or from there to there. I will use this way. You see, like when I click this point and this line, that gives me the distance. That's not what I want. This line to this point. Yep, that gives me the height. And that is 68 inches. Bonk. And put it on. To verify this point to here. And vertical should be, yeah, 82.5. Okay, that's correct. We can even put this in for display purpose. Very good. Okay, very nice. Yeah, that's all what we need. Then exit sketch, turn on this, select our profiles, click and drag, cut through, turn off the section cut. And you see, now very quickly we're going to model the space. It might make sense to give these some names. So this is actually window north. Whoops. There. And window, this is west side. Okay. Also the sketches we can put all into a folder. Then we can call this sketches with proper spelling, and maybe here 3D model, however you want to name this. Okay, very good. We have now basically everything set up for the walls, and at this point now it's time to go ahead and actually plan out where are the positions of the I-beams and the support elements. So we can go into the top view. Maybe let's rotate the view so we can better zoom in. There we are. And the body I want to turn off. These north and west sketches I don't need anymore. I can zoom in, click on the sketch, then I go into sketch edit mode. Okay, so first thing is we're going to create the position and then the detail of the I-beam. Just create a rectangle. 8, tab 8 inches, enter. And escape, double click, and make sure it is horizontal, vertical. There, beautiful. Then we can do the following and just draw loosely here a rectangle. There and there and there. Escape. There, 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 and there. Escape. And then there and there and escape. So this is a construction midline. Make it a construction. These lines here, I would like to be horizontal and vertical constraint. From you to you, that distance, that's here. that is actually quarter inch, so 0.25 divided by 2. Okay, no, what happened here? 1 second. So one more time. 0.25, oops, divided, not minus, 2 equal enter. There we are. Cool. Then we can say u to u, that is, yes, indeed, 0.25. And then u to u, that is also 0.25. Okay. The rest we can dimension too. I can also say, hey, u and u just be equal. U and u be equal. So now then we have the height, and we could say u and u be tangent. Yeah, done. There it is. You see now we have this h in it. Okay. How do we position this now correctly? You see nicely every line has a mid and then start endpoint. So I can draw from this midpoint to there a point. Press escape, escape. Then this line I make horizontal. That pulls it down. Now this is perfectly aligned. This line should also be a construction. And then the position we can set 32 inches. There we are. Very good. Okay, now we do have actually another position of this. However, what we only need is kind of like a place marker. So I'm creating an 8 by 8 inch rectangle. Make this also horizontal vertical. I not draw all the other stuff in it. I don't need it. I'm actually creating here like a kind of like a guideline, horizontal, and then this also should be construction line, and then this line we set to 525 and enter. Cool. Okay. So because this is a rectangle, later when I extrude the I-beam out, I can just move and snap it right onto a corner. So I don't have to draw all this other stuff. There is also a circular post. So I go to the circle, draw a ring, and the radius is actually 4.5. That's what I measured. But now how do we make sure there's no midpoint to connect this to there? It's actually also really easy. It's kind of like a little bit of geometry. Click and click. You see I draw 2 lines. This line and this line, construction and horizontal. There we are. So with this, I can move this around. And then this is now, as you can see, perfectly the distance between the rectangle and the circle. And then 297. There we are. The values are a little bit rounded. That's okay. We have also here another set. Again, we don't need to do this. When we actually have this other one here modeled, and we just copy and move it right into the correct position. Okay, so we have actually everything ready for the post and these elements to actually move up. So we can select this, extrude this up. Let's say there. And then I zoom in here, select just this H, drag this up there. Now, double click it. And here, now I will make myself a copy. So I click copy, bring this over maybe to there. Then I zoom in. And then I will go to translate. And with translate now, I could say, so from this corner to this corner, yep, this is the endpoint to endpoint. done, long. There we are. See? And then later we would, when this is all done, we copy everything over to the other position. Since we have the position of the vertical elements, it's now a good time to work on the horizontal elements. So let's go to actually this I-beam there, and I click on the top surface. Now this is 95 inches, and this part should be 136.25 of an inch. Very good. Okay. Now, I'm gonna make a double click of this. Then I will click here on this and copy, and then rotate myself out a copy. There we are. Thank you. This piece is actually something I would like to change and modify. This has 16 inches of a height. So from here to here, what is actually the distance? So 8 inches. No? Okay, so when this is 8 inches, should be 16 inches. So then you and you and you, that has to be moved down by 8 inches. So, and if this is all correct, then you and woo, there's actually the sketch that's in our way. So maybe turn this off. 16 inches. Perfect. Yeah, very good. Okay, so now extra sketches, we just scale it as we need. Then this has to be at a certain position here, but I measured it from the ground up. So what's the most logical step? Well, first we align this one to this edge. No, shift and click, and then align. Clong, there we are. And then this whole piece, please move up by 129 inches. And there we are. Suck. Cool. Okay. Yeah, let me show you something. You shift click this lower face, replace face. Okay. There, it's actually the correct height. And let's turn on the model. And now we can select this face, shift click this face and say replace. There. Perfectly sits on it. Beautiful. Okay. Very nice. So you saw this is actually not really very complicated. So then let's select this whole element, make a copy, bring this over, turn copy off, bring this up. And we have to actually change the height. Then we will position it, and then we will slightly rotate it. So 23 inches is what I have measured. Let's isolate this part for the moment. Click and click. 16. So 23, that means 4 and 3. Probably is more 24, but I measured. Let's go with 24. It seems more logical. So 24 inches. Okay, so we need to move everything another 4 inches up. There, there, there. And then this corner to this corner. That's actually 20 inches. Okay. My math just was failing me because this has to go another 4 inches up. Yeah. Okay, so please now, yeah, 24 inches. Very good. That now makes sense. Then let's exit actually the section view. Very good. We can bring this one to here. We click on this center part, and now I would like this to go to there. So we know easiest way is click and then shift click and align. There it is. Very good. So this whole beam is actually horizontal. The roof has a very minimal rotation, so pitch. And that's interestingly something I didn't notice. I mean, how much is angled when you walk under the space, you can't really see, but in the scan actually it became evident because over this long distance, even 1 degree is really a lot. So we can select this whole object, double click, and then I move this widget to this corner. Then I zoom in to this position there, move this widget down onto this lower edge. There you see. And then I can rotate it 0.75 of an inch. Enter. Can also maybe -1 inch to make it clean. There. Perfect. Okay. So you see now, this is just 1 degree only. What you noticed, this is actually quite a lot. Also here now, we can select this surface, rotate the view till maybe we see the other stuff. I'm looking through the door there, and then replace. We're just project it up to make it nice and clean. And here, kind of like the same. And there, very good. This also does not end strictly here. This extends a little bit. Oops, sorry for my rotation. So I can select this. And then let's add 8 more inches. We make this 610. There. And you see now from the left corner, the whole piece grew. Oh, hold on 1 second. Oh, maybe oh yeah, this is the original piece. So I have to actually scale this back first. So this looks kind of okay. And we can keep it 583. So this is good. Again, we're not making a 3D model for a construction purpose. We're just very quickly trying to rebuild something as accurate as possible. So when we do our presentation and discussion, it actually makes sense. So let's add 7 more inches to it, or 6. So this would be 590 there. Okay, good. This extended as it should. Beautiful. Okay. Now you see, this actually works really nice. Before the roof and the joists sit on it, there's actually a small wooden, kind of like a spacer. So I can select the top face, go to extrude, type in 2 inches, and then click on this icon, and then say new body. There. And create it for me. Very good. And I can do the same also here. 2 inches as a new body. Very good. Okay, very nice. This is slightly getting into my way, so I turn this off. Beautiful. And then we can continue on the next element. So on top of this board is actually another element. There are multiple ways how we can do this with a sketch. We draw this triangular piece from the side, or we actually extrude something up and then we try to rotate it. So I will go actually more with the measurement because then I can specify really the degree. So I will select this face. Now it's nice and flat. Go and say add a sketch. There we are. And then you see here's a snap point. So I can do one thing very quickly. There's a line, there, and there. Very good. Thank you. Then this I will make horizontal. This I will make vertical, and then this and shift click this edge, that should be just 1 degree. Maybe to make this a little bit bigger, 300. So I just move this out. Okay, maybe 600. Now you see how this is growing, no? Okay, very good. This I know I can remove. And then what I will do is this point, I will snap to the end point. There we are. How do we have? Yeah, 10.5 inches. Okay. Very good. Okay, so then this we can simply extrude by 8 inches. So there we have this piece that sits on it. Now let's actually turn this off maybe for one moment. We do kind of like this exercise the other way. So you don't have to do this. It's just for you if you want to see it. So 10.5 is kind of like what I imagined. There we are. Actually, hold on. No, I figured out another way. Well, even better. Copy. Here's a funny trick. We make a copy in the position where it is. So, but by 0. So we don't move it. Turn 12 off. That's actually the copy. And now this face, I would like to rotate by 1 degree over this edge. There. So 1 degree up. Okay. You see? Okay. And when I now show body 12, you see it's inside. What I can do is body 12.1, shift click body 12, subtract, and then from the bigger one, the blue one, I want to remove this, remove bodies. Okay, what does this color mean? Basically, so this is my tool, my target, and this is my tool. And then when I turn this off, you see that's empty because the lower piece will be removed, but I want to keep this tool. So it's kind of like the power tools in SketchUp. The horizontal wooden piece removes its volume from the bigger magenta piece, and we end up with both as an end result. There. Awesome. That means this sketch I can remove. I try not to have too many sketches. Try to solve everything more via 3D modeling. Okay, beautiful. So yeah, look at that. That actually is really nice. We can take a look at the sketches now. So how do we get everything over? That's actually really easy. So we'll select all this, put this into a folder, right click, and then we can call this I-beam. Okay, thank you. Then translate, turn on copy, and then I will say, so move this whole thing from this corner to the opposite corner. Done. There we are. Let me show you this one more time. When you select the folder, it selects everything. Translate. Turn on copy. From there to there. Done. There we are. See? And we also have a second folder. Beautiful. This is really good. Yeah, it's shaping up actually really, really nice. I hope you start noticing there's when you do this for the first time, a lot of commands and things maybe to take a look at, but the mechanics of modeling something like this is always the same, and it's actually very easy to do. And the tools are very intuitive, I find. They really make sense. Good. So 2 pieces are left. The joists, and then putting something that is a little bit simplified onto the roof. So before, however, I will turn this one off. Now I will actually do kind of like the following. So this body. I would like to hide. Thank you. Okay. And I will do a little modeling trick here. Here we have actually a horizontal beam that goes through the room. So I will extrude from this 12 inches up as a new body. There we are. And then this thing should only be kind of like 6 inches. Yeah, okay, there. And then this we can push out, push over. Logically, this will slightly intersect with this element we have here, but that is fine. You also see it's very tiny. And then I can turn on this other view, and then I say this face to this face, shift click, and replace. Thank you. And we do the same here. So I don't measure and move by hand. I tell the software, please adjust everything for me. Very good. Okay. So that was actually not pretty easy. So let's do the choice here. So we can select this. It's a nice copy. Bring this over to here. Then I will isolate the object. And now we have to talk about now the joist. So 2 inches by what's actually the height. Let's measure. I forgot that number. That is 12. Yes. Okay, very good. Stop the isolation mode. And now I would like this to sit right on top of there. So the wall here I hide, and then I will select this edge, shift click this edge and say align, and probably will it rotate it? I did not rotate it. Very good. So because I did edge to edge. And when I rotate this, you see I can start making it align with this plane or with this plane. Very good. Okay, there's actually now our first joist element. Obviously, the position is totally off. So now we're quickly going to reposition these faces. But also there you see this is really easy. There. Okay. We do have a 16 inch spacing. So how do we do actually now move this along the space? So I do the following. I move this onto this edge. You see that actually the widget will align itself. You see it's actually aligned with this edge. Copy 16 inches. Thank you. 16 inches. No, 32. 16 inches. There you see how this goes. Hey, another plus. Whoop. Plus 16 inches. Whoop. Oh, this was actually one a little bit too much, so I have to be careful. So what I do most times now, once I have a certain set, then I move everything to the position there. Okay. So here now we'll have a duplicate. So what I will do is, this is 48. This is good. And I know right here, double click, there's a duplicate. So that one I removed. Okay. Here are my elements. Then again, go to there, copy, move this down. This should be, was it 112? No, 16 more. So this would be 128. There, thank you. And then one more. There's a pattern tool, but this is actually at an angle, so I don't think this works right now. So this will then be 256. There we are. Now, a few more to select. Left click to the right. Now, left click to the left. Tab to select bodies. Okay. Go to here, copy, bring this over. So 80, 96. There we are. Yeah, beautiful. Look at that. That was not rocket science. So all this is actually a good set of geometry, but very many bodies. So on an iPad, there's a plus icon. Mac and PC, here we have a folder icon. There, just put those into a folder. There's also a very simplified version of the joists under it. But later when you're inside the building, this is kind of like what you want to see, all these lines. That's the reason why we are doing all this stuff. So let's select this. I would like to make a copy, and then I rotate this whole thing 180 degrees, turn copy function off, and then, whoa, this view, bring this over. Space saver techniques. Now, because, how could I say that? It's all 1 degree. It's just one copy, and then we can recycle it. Now, how do we perfectly position this? So I will do the following little trick here. There we are. Thank you. So now I will say from this one, yeah, make me a copy. Thank you. And then this copy I would like to align to this edge. There we are. Very good. Then I will show the wall because this is wrong. And shift click these two faces, replace. There we are. Then I can turn off this piece again. Select this, shift, double click this so to turn this off. Or what I can do to make it easier, where's this piece? There, I just drag this out of the folder. There. Yeah, you can guess it. We do a translate. So from there to there. Done. And then here, this we retire, rename joist. Very good. Maybe we can call this cross beam. That's actually what's okay. Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, perfect. So there's actually across this is a linear pattern. Here I can show you how to use this linear pattern. And to create this object, we'll make a copy of this. Copy, very good. Then I move this one up. 12 inches, okay. Then this we will set to 2 inches material thickness. That is good. Then this has to go up. Yeah, but to where? We will later put this under the roof. So I will actually keep this right here. Very nice. So I just realized actually we have to build the roof first before we can do this. But as a little teaser, I select this linear pattern and then we can grow our pattern out of it. Very easy. Okay. Okay, but cancel. We do this later. But here, you and you, we can put this together and then rename cross beam. Very nice. So how do we do actually now the roof? This is super easy. We have all the necessary geometry to simply snap to and turn on this. I turn on section cut. Oh yeah, that makes sense. Okay, turn this off. Wah, wah. It's okay. Failures always are a good opportunity to show something cool. So this face I selected. Add plane. I'm dragging a huge plane out. This plane is maybe at one point going to be in my way visually. So I will go to scale non-uniform, scale this down, and then I move this one up. So it is outside my view. What I can do with this plane now is turn on section cut. You see, suck, there's a section cut. And I can make a sketch on this plane. Perfect. There, that's what I wanted to have. Okay, so snap point to this snap point. Then we can specify here an angle there and go to the end. Wait, I have to select properly the top one. Yeah, and right click and escape. Yeah, very good. Then let's make an offset. So you shift click and shift click. Oh, why does this not work? Or single edges, you, and you. Ah, there. So you have to shift click and then single. Wait, this is all loop again. That's interesting. Okay, one more time. Click, click, click. With shift. No, it didn't work. That's interesting. Okay, yeah. So I have to go to single and then select them. Let's make this, yeah, an inch for the board. There we are. Okay. Then we can go ahead and close this up. Very good. Don't worry, the sketch is not closing to the wall. We could do this in the sketch. I simply do this differently. Very nice. We can leave the sketch, turn section cut off. Then I will turn all these off, all these elements. There we are. Click in this profile and then do the following. One extrusion, and then I select this onto this face and replace. See, I folded it over it. Here we might have to zoom in and very gentle select this face. Nope. And this face and replace. Thank you. And then we do the same here. This will be pretty cool, actually. I think it should work. No, it did not work. No. Okay. Let's see. Nope, that's not what I want. Yeah, it's okay. There are always many roads that lead to Rome. So this tiny thing, you know what? Here, whoop, I extrude over. Can also simply do it this way and then select this one, move this over. Very good. And so what I will do now is I will select the roof. I would like to be cut by the wall. Subtract, keep remove bodies, and then here, this is the outside piece I can take off. And there you see it, perfectly trimmed it. Oh, this actually also brings up, well, these actually don't work correctly. So how do we do this? Very easy. Check this out. It's a beautiful tool. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 objects I would like to be split body by this face. Clong. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, delete. And there's a tiny one left there. Zack, cleaned up. Very nice. We can call this section cut, for example, or plane. So rename section cut. And that's maybe the east-west. Because then we can take a look at the east or the west elevation view. We can call this roof. Drag this in there. This we just call roof. Very good. So last piece to model. Off, crossbeam we need to see. So now there we can see this has to be aligned. There we are. Very good. And what's the length here? 185 inches. So you pattern total distance, which I already forgot. 685, not 185. And what about 20? Yeah, let's say 20. Okay, done. See? Oh, look at this. Kind of a nice, funky looking architecture. Okay. Then all this basically belongs into the crossbeam. We can just drag that folder in there. So we have kind of like this piece and then the crossbeam. So you see we can nest individual folders in folders. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we have finished successfully rebuilding the space in Shapr3D. Awesome.